Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the workshop of the Board of County Commissioners. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first thing we have is a discussion regarding Pinnacol Assurance and our workman's comp proposal for Mountain West Insurance. Mr. Colbert, I will let you take it from there. You
Make
do
sure
need
it's
that. Turn it on and pull it just as close as you can.
How's that?
Our audience of 4 or 5 can't hear you unless you do that.
Justin back there? Okay.
Well, it's the audience of after the recording goes out is,
Yeah, I
is
got
where
you.
it really
Okay.
pertains.
Well, I thank you guys for taking some time to visit with us today. We have Chris Hansen, who is our lead underwriter for public entity for work comp for Pinnacol in Colorado. And then Chris, tell me your last name again. Janowitz. Okay, he is our claims rep for public sector. These guys work for the insurance company. They work for Pinnacol. Pinnacol is the largest writer of work comp in the state of Colorado, bar none on top. And that's what they do. That's their forte. And I was talking with Phaedra and Lynn and Travis a few months ago, and the timing was right for this. I've looked at it for the last few years, but just because of certain things, we've never been able to kind of really make an effort to do it right. This year we did, and we were able to get all the information we needed, put it all together. And the partnership that Pinnacle's offered to us, I think can be very beneficial for the county. Now you guys have the proposal, I think, in your packets. As far as work comp goes, all these facts and figures are based on what you currently have with your CTSI pool. That is a pooled insurance policy that is underwritten or reinsured through Arch Insurance Company, which is the excess surplus lines market, that I think there's 28 or 30 counties that you guys share that with. Mm-hmm. So you're in a shared insurance policy. They do the same kind of thing in the public entity, liability property insurance pools, and good or bad, indifferent. The pools have historically, underperformed, I think, the open market. I think there's still a benefit to be in a insurance company market rather than a shared pool. And that's why we came to you with this year. Now, the pool itself, they require the same type of underwriting information to go in. They blanket their reinsurance company, their insurance company, and they say, we've got this much premium or this much payroll, we've got these many counties, we got these many classes, give us the rate. Pinnacol takes you, Montezuma County, and they go in there and they say, okay, we've got 13 or 11 million or whatever in payroll, and we have these classes, and then they also have their rates, which are filed with the state of Colorado, not the pool rates, Pinnacol's rates, that they adhere to. And they build your policy based on Montezuma County. And there's other factors involved in that, industry and things like that, but it's not a shared package. So when it all came down to it, taking the same information that Travis and his folks supplied to CTSI, Pinnacol has come up with a proposal for us, which, and I've talked to Chris at great length about this, which they think is necessary as far as rate and premium to sustain the county's policy, but it's a lot more lucrative than what you guys have been paying in the last few years. And so I've had some conversations with Chris about that. And I said, look, one of the things I'm not going to do for the county, I've been there too long, is come in here and have them buy an insurance policy that's going to save them, $70,000 the first year. But then you guys come back in and you tell me, oh, well, we got to have rate next year. That's not the way we do business. So after their team got together, they looked at the makeup of the county, the departments of the county, the payrolls involved in those departments. This is what their numbers are. These are the factors. They've done their homework. I'm confident of that. And they are very, very in as far as here's what we've got to have, and here's the things that we're going to be able to help you with moving forward. And this is what we need to do. And having said that, our rates and our costs and our services are going to be better than what you're doing right now. So when we got through with this thing and with their premium discounts and like I say, the information that you guys had supplied to CTSI, you know, their offer this year is a little over $250,000 for your insurance policy. Your last year's 2023 premium with CTSI was $326,000. Your premiums over the last 5 years have been from $306,000 to that $326,000. So they have always been substantially higher than what we're offering. So when it comes down to it, Pinnacle's partnership with the county, their commitment to you guys is, we're in this with you. We can offer this rate and we all can still be satisfied with premium and service, but going forward, we're going to offer you more services, i.e. to help with claims, to help with cost containment, to help with rating, your experience rating, all of these other factors involved. They will be very proactive in their service. And I don't think you've seen that out of CTSI. I think all they've done in the past is, hey, send us your payroll numbers in your categories. Here's your bill, and we'll see you next year. If you have a claim, send us a fax or an email. And I can promise you that that would change if we took on their partnership. Now, having said that, we put some other information in your packet as far as, what they offer as far as, your team, your claims team, their safety programs that they can build for you guys, they can help you with, they can help our departments with. All of these things would be available to us, and they will come and help us with in the future. And at this time, I guess I would, if you guys have any specific questions, or I'll let Chris, chime in, or whatever you guys think I've missed to this point, and we can, keep moving forward.
Are there questions at this point?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
So
Actually,
thank you, Bentley, very much. The premium is probably less than what you're used to. That's fine. We'll save you a few pennies right now. But what we really want to do is make the county better. And I brought some additional materials that'll show how we get injured workers back to work quicker than what you're used to.
that was my question.
Okay.
Because one of the things that we see, and it drags on, it seems like forever, is once somebody's out on a workman's comp claim, it seems like it's a year-long process, when in reality, again, everybody's different, but it seems like it's drug out, and it costs this county a ton of money.
That's
And
right.
it's, so I'll
Yes.
let you explain to me.
Yes, and I brought some additional materials showing that I related your previous results with CTSI versus I used our top 28 largest municipalities, both cities and counties, and we are closing claims much quicker, and the average claim size is much lower. So the idea is to get you back to work, get your employees back to work as quickly as possible. So that's why that's how we make your operation better, not just saving some premium dollars. We want to make this program more efficient.
One of the things that we see in the industry, and we've seen it forever, the quicker that that employee gets back in the scope of that workplace, whether it be sweeping a floor. It doesn't have to be driving that truck, but or filing papers or whatever. The quicker we can get them back into the office, the less the claim is, and the healing time for that loss is cut drastically. The percentages it's huge, and they have all that stuff, but that's very important now. And one of the things that Pinnacol does, and they do a great job of it, is doing that. They are very proactive in that. And in the long run, just like Chris said, it saves them money and it saves you guys money. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and to chime in, you won't just have a dedicated claims representative overseeing everybody's cases. You'll have the accessibility to our return to work program, our return to work consultants who can tailor specific programs to different employees based upon where they're working out of. Sure, it may not be bringing them back to their exact job, full 100% full duty, but there's a lot of creativity that's brought into that. I see this firsthand on a day-to-day basis. Just like Bentley was saying, the quicker people are back to work, the quicker they start to heal. Their overall level of satisfaction, I feel, increases. That's what we're looking at here. We're looking to drive the as few possible days of TTD. We're trying to minimize costs. We're trying to maximize satisfaction with that process as well.
Yeah, speaking of satisfaction, one of the things that the state requires is every injured worker gets a survey. Now, whether they turn them back or not, that's another story. But injured worker surveys we take extremely seriously, and we are constantly rated. I believe our current is 4.2 out of 5. And we take that very seriously and are very proud of our number, that the satisfaction of our injured workers is they feel like they were well cared for by the time the claim is resolved.
Any specific questions, Travis? Ian, do you have any questions?
No, not at this point.
The only thing that we'd have to do is, if this is the path the commissioners want to travel, obviously we don't make decisions today, but we'd need a definite decision one way or the other tomorrow, because we only have until October 1st.
Right, I was going to mention that. So you have to, and that's another thing about the pool, which you don't have another insurance company that's going to tell you this, but they want to know by October 1st if you're not going to renew. They want 90-day notice, which that's fine. I mean, that's why we're doing this early. Your renewal date's 1/1, but which we have everything ready. Lynn's already been in contact with them, telling them maybe this is going to happen, and then we have a little application form. The process then after that would be Pinnacol would have an onboarding team, the way I understand it, and they'll be down to kind of let everybody know how the process is going to work and what's going on with that, and make sure that the ladies are, everybody's on board with what we got to do, and Travis on that.
So it's basically just an administrative process that has
Yes.
nothing to do with the employees at
No,
all?
no,
They'll
no.
never see any difference in anything other than hopefully, like you said,
Yeah.
tailor a program to
Right.
them,
Yeah,
whether it's whatever in that department or not, but they would be coming or
right.
potentially come back to work.
Yeah, I was just going to, thank you. I was just going to say that where they would see a difference is we do have an injured worker portal that helps them through the process. They can always talk to our claims adjusters, but there's a ton of things they can do through our injured worker portal to self-serve. That, when they count mileage to getting to a doctor's appointment, it'll assist with tracking that, so that they don't have to have a whole bunch of papers in front of them. They actually can just, I went to the doctor today and it was this far away, and they can turn in all those expenses very simply and easily.
Medical records.
Medical
They can view any and all medical records directly through their portal. They're not having to keep a physical file on their person at all times. They've got direct contact with their claims representatives, somebody like me at any time of the day. I've found fast and easy communication leads to strong positive outcomes. So yeah, lots of advantages with our Pinnacol portal.
So one other real quick question. Historically, dealing with municipalities or counties, what because the increases that we are seeing with all of our insurances is through the roof.
Yes.
And it becomes a big chunk of change for us. So historically, what kind of percentages do you guys see? And obviously, I know it's based on claims, but what, do you have an average?
So typically, for the last 7 years, we've actually experienced a 40% rate decrease. I don't know if you've seen decreases in your current program, but our premiums have actually been going down. That's pretty much over, but we're fairly flat at this point. Again, as you referenced, depending on what the experience is, that certainly impacts the premium quite a bit. But our overall rates have gone down 40% over the last 7 years. This year, I expect them to, or for 2024, I expect them to be relatively flat.
And Jim, one of the things you'll see, one of the things that drives premium in work comp is your experience
Yes.
mod.
Right.
Yep.
The county's mod is very high right now, very high. And one of the things that they're going to help us with is we should see a relaxation in that next year. We've got a large claim that I think is coming off. That's going to help you. But what we hope to do in the future is alleviate the issue with those large claims. Here, we can better manage them. We can get them back sooner. We can get them healed sooner and quicker. But right now, a 31.3 mod is pretty high. It really is. And that's why we need a partner on board that's going to, we've got to alleviate some of those kind of issues, I think, moving forward. And as you said, I mean, there's only a certain amount of money in the pot. We all know that. And, you know, any way that we can help ourselves with that and be proactive with that, I think we have to in this day and age. There's no doubt. And I kind of feel a little bit guilty. I mean, our other side of the coin on this insurance is this property stuff just killed us the last few years. But maybe here's a little bit we can kind of help ourselves with. I don't know. But, yeah, and the property stuff's just ridiculous. And it's not just here. I mean, everything we do every day seems like we're facing something else on that. So.
And every so often there'll be a big claim that it's open for a while. But in running a comparison over the last 5 years, your current solution is averaging 139 days to close claims. And our average over that same period for our largest public sector counts is 69 days, so basically half of what you're currently experiencing. Our research and our records indicate that every day a claim is open is $82. Individual results may differ, but $82 a day times 70 days is quite a significant difference. So when we get back to talking about the experience rate and those kinds of things, that reducing those costs of claims, that's something that we are champions. That's why I brought our champion here. That's our main. I mean, we've got lots of great things that we do, but that's so huge for an operation like Montezuma County.
I know in personal experience, my restaurant was insured through the Restaurant Association, which was a big pool, and it was Pinnacol Insurance.
Yes.
But we never saw much of the Restaurant Association. And so we backed away from the Restaurant Association and went straight with Pinnacol Insurance. And they were supposed to save me money. My premiums dropped. And actually, I've gotten more out of Pinnacol since I dropped the Restaurant Association, since going with you guys just straight out. It was incredible.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
Safety classes, the whole ball of wax. And at the end of the year, premium cycle, got a little check.
Yeah.
Not much,
Yes,
a little check.
the general the general dividend plan.
Yeah.
Now, as our rates have come down, you said a little check, and I believe that the dividends have also come down because we're
Right.
not taking in as much. But Bentley was talking about the difference between being in some sort of group versus being individual, and that's a great example of where being part of the group, you're sharing their experiences, and it actually benefited you to come out of that and just be graded on your own.
Yeah, our
and
group
that's
was
exactly what this would
administered
be.
out of Denver, and sometimes you wonder if they even know we're here.
Right.
Sometimes we don't want them to know we're here.
Well, and that's another piece, we do have a safety person down in the area. He's 3
Yeah.
hours away, and he's proposed some things as you showed up on your screens here. But we've got a local presence here.
Any other questions, fellas?
I don't.
All right now.
Okay. And like Travis was saying, I think Lynn's got things ready, but we do need to, as soon as you guys vote on it, get the word to CTSI. We don't want to miss their deadline date for
Yeah.
sure, so they can't hang us up on something like that. I did specifically ask Phaedra about, have they in the past, and she is not aware of any, ever sent you guys an assessment after your annual premium? And she says not that she's ever seen. I don't foresee that. I mean, I think I don't foresee that they come, but in certain pools, I've seen that happen. But I don't foresee that, or they've already would have done that in the past for you. But, I think I haven't heard anything different. But the work comp pool is actually done okay for the Colorado counties. But I know the PNC pool, I saw a little deal on that the other day, and they're fixing to hit them guys with about a 50% assessment. And their law enforcement liability is going up 150% next year. They've already told them. They've already notified them. Who's ever in that pool on their PNC renewals it's going up a lot. So anyway.
And I can tell you, we have had other customers leave CTSI and come to Pinnacol, and there hasn't been any real complications or anything like that.
Anything else, gentlemen? Chris?
Okay,
I think we're good.
all right.
I don't have anything else. Okay. We thank you for your time.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank
you
you.
guys.
Thank you.
listening
Thank you
to
very
it.
much.
And like I said, I think timing was very right for us this year on this. And kudos to Travis and his crew, because they have been a huge help on this, because it takes a little bit to put this one together. And the other one we've had so long, and we've got things in line and in place, and we can go through that pretty quick. But this one, it took some time to get together, and they were very, very helpful with that, so we could get them the information to do this right. So thank you guys, Travis and your folks. And we'll, I don't think we have anything else. I wanted to introduce these guys to Phaedra. Is Lynn back? Okay, but I want you to meet Phaedra, and we can just kind of chat with her a little bit. And you're going to have to meet Lynn, because if she's not happy, we're not happy, boys. I'm going to tell you right now. So I'm just kidding. But anyway, all right. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bill.
guys. Nice to meet you.
Appreciate it. Like I
Chris and
say,
Chris, thank
Travis,
you.
if you
Chris.
have any questions, let me know.
Mr.
Yeah, you
Hanson
bet.
and Mr. Janowitz,
Thank you.
if I said that correctly.
Yes, you did.
Spot. I hear a lot of it.
Bentley, you need that scooted over to you? No, you get it?
Both of you guys are sitting behind me today. I don't know about that. Well, they gave me a bionic hip. Oh, good, yeah. I can run the numbers
As long as his hip don't go crazy and his legs shoot in the air when they turn the microwave on, we're all
See
right.
ya.
Bentley, you need to use the elevator?
No, I'll make it. I'll go slow. I really am getting.
Well, you fall down the stairs, we'll use,
I'll call you.
all right.
I'll call Travis. Thank you.
All right, next up, we're gonna have a discussion as it relates to Southern Health Partners contract that we currently have in our jail. So I guess, Travis, I don't see the sheriff here. You're gonna present
Yeah.
this for him?
So I'll go ahead and present this for him. Ian, I think you was the first one to get some of this information, but basically, my understanding is everything is staying the same, other than the cost is increasing on the per day for inmates. And it's gonna increase total of $8809.20 for next year. There is a $30,000 pool limit, and the sheriff, when I talked to him on Friday, I believe it was Friday, he is going to try to figure out the intricacies about this pool. Now granted, if they use some of that pool money, we still have to supplement it, and it goes back into the same pot. But basically, it's just an $8,800 increase in the Southern Health Partners.
And then the $1.29, so how did they get the magical number of 80? Well, I mean,
So I remember when they came in and presented, and I think that what they did was they crunched the number of staff that they have on hand versus how many inmates are in the jail. And so I think the idea is when they run over 80, then at that point, the staff will have to do more than they would normally do to accommodate that number. So that's how they arrived at that. I sent you guys an email too with the total cost increases. I know when we negotiated this contract last year, there was a clause in there that called for a 3% increase every year. We took that out. I didn't feel comfortable having that language in, but it appears that increase mirrors that contractual clause, even though it's not in the contract.
okay. I mean, it's still,
You
as
know-
far as liability for us, the county, our risk is, I guess, reduced. We still have risk,
Sure.
obviously, but it's significantly reduced.
I think the advantage of this contract is it takes a lot of the administrative work and the legwork out of staffing the jail for healthcare stuff. And that's the good. Now, if something happens down at the jail and an inmate is injured or dies and for lack of care, it doesn't necessarily alleviate the county from responsibility. I think we talked at length about that last year. It would be nice with this kind of a contract to have more indemnification, an agreement to defend the county if something were to happen. That's not in this contract. But what they do is they provide the day-to-day services to hopefully keep everybody safe at the jail.
You didn't make the stairs.
Yeah. I think it's better. Okay, any other questions? That's the nuts and bolts of it. I mean,
There was and I showed this to Travis, I don't know if you guys got this or not. There was an article in the Denver Post about this new committee at the state to regulate what's going on at the jails. And I'm just wondering if this helps alleviate some of that that's coming down this pipe. I mean, it's gonna be a fiasco in my terms.
Yeah, I talked to the sheriff a little bit about that, and they're against it.
Yeah.
I think the county sheriff's is against the proposal, but again, it's another unfunded mandate. So we'll just have to see where it goes.
I read the article, and I'm curious to see October 6th is when we start, that'll be our,
That starts the process at
starts the
CCI.
process at CCI, so.
I think the one thing you
I'm
can
sure
say
that'll be
is
something to
Southern
do.
Health Partners is in this business. I mean, this is one of the things that they do is provide healthcare services for jails. And so to that extent, you would hope that they have more experience doing this day to day than just hiring nurses off the street.
So I think we're in a better
Whether
situation.
it certainly doesn't alleviate the possibility of
Right.
something happening down there. I mean, as we've seen, things happen at the jail, and we oftentimes are named in the lawsuits. But you do the best you can, and my understanding is I think the sheriff has been pretty happy with the services they've provided, and so that's where we're at.
Okay. Question?
No.
Okay. All right, then moving right along, Mr. Englehart. Come on down and we'll talk about your transfers.
I don't know if Doug was coming in today, maybe he wasn't, so I got it, if he didn't, don't matter. So we've put together a data sheet of the transfers. These are the impact fees collected out of a certain mile radius, 5-mile radius of a project. So over the last couple of years, we've kept telling ourselves we were gonna do this, and we just got busy and didn't do it. So we're catching up with a couple of different years back to 22. So did you get any maps with that, Travis? We sent them over this morning. That was kind of a late. If you
I
didn't,
didn't, let me see if they're in the file.
We got the description that's
the
displayed right
description will
now.
probably work, but we do have a map that goes with it if you guys are interested in it. So Doug put together. So.
Here comes Doug now.
Yeah, okay.
There it is.
So like there's Road F and Road G. So let me find that one. It's not going to match up today, but. Oh, Doug. Well, anyway, Road F, Road G, that was the airport. That's what we did this year. And I'm just going to start on the list because it doesn't match up with my maps. But if we start back at Road 18, Road to Road P, that was one layer of chip seal. That was out in Goodman Point area. There was about five different individuals out there that we were able to collect of on that 5 mile piece. And then Y and 16 out at Yellow Jacket, we did the chip seal, rebuilt the road, complete road on all that. And there was several of them out there that we cleaned that all up on. And then on Route 20 road culvert, we call that. That was on Road 20 over by Terry Pickens. We took that culvert, that old wore out culvert out, realigned that road and redone all that. So we picked up all those in there to help pay for that project.
Took out that horrible corner.
Oh, it was a mess, yeah. It was a train wreck,
Or
just waiting to explode on us.
Curve, I guess it wasn't really a corner.
Yeah, and the culvert was collapsing, and there was a big hole in it, and it was a train wreck about to happen. So that was a good project for the citizens out in that area. That really straightened that road out and took that curve out of it and put a new culvert in. So that was a good way to spend that money out there. Road 29, pave and chip seal from 160 to M. That was a big project, and going from basically 160 all the way up to M, opened up that whole new road up through Totten Lake there, cleaned that all up, and then came back and put a layer of chip seal on it 2 years later to start the maintenance program on the asphalt. So we were able to pull all that in to help pay for those projects. Road 31 going up to Dolores Norwood Road, fixed all that road, paved it, then came back and chip sealed it too, and put that maintenance course on. Pulled all that in. Road M and N from 145 to 491. That year we got chip sealed, rebuilt on M, and we also took care of overlaying Road Nancy all the way across and cleaned all that up in there. So when you put those two roads together a mile apart and then put a 5 mile radius on it, that opened up a lot of that area in there. There was a lot of impact fees that had not been spent. So good projects too. It helped move traffic a lot better and cleaned a lot of stuff up. Road 23, asphalt overlay to Road G. That's one we were just talking about a second ago. As you all see, that's been a good project for everybody down there. Cleaned up the intersection, opened that, or closed that little swing out of there and got that safe and did all that work. So I think that's been a good project. Got it all painted, new guardrails. Road 31 from 29 to 184. That's where we went to continued on up through from Road M up to 184 and tied all that back together. Then come back and chip sealed it a couple of years later. We had some cracking issues on that asphalt, and we wanted to fix it before it deteriorated. And it's been a good job, and it's worked out well. So money well spent again, nothing else, at least fixing it before we lost it again. So let's see, Road 29 to 184, that's where we finished that up last. So there's all the projects. So the total out of this whole thing to pull into the road department this year was $546,992.78 on a transfer, which gets us healthy again after this year's bridge and all the other little incidents we were going through this year. So, good time to use it. So,
That's what it's collected for, that's what it should be used for, and it's money that's there. It doesn't just need to be sitting, and it's a
No,
substantial fund, and it's to the projects of the roads. And this is a good way to be able to express it to the people to say, because we'll forget, or I will forget, maybe you guys won't forget, but I'll forget where it went.
Well,
That we can actually document it and say, well, in this year, we did these and we pulled these funds for this.
yeah, exactly. And several years ago, we were just getting started with these big projects, and we're completing 2-3 year period projects and able to pull this money now out and legitimately tell people, look at what you got to drive on compared to 5 years ago. with this money, so it's good, so, yeah.
And if you looked at the maps, because then it kind of showed, we're trying to make it a little bit logical. Here's the one for Road F, the next map, all the maps, we chose ones that were, the folks who paid the road impact fees were somewhat close to that area. It wasn't indiscriminate completely, so we tried to hit those accounts. So with this transfer and the balance that's in the treasurer's office, we are balanced. I think the total as of August 31st was 1.38 million. So subtract this and it'd be left with that balance of about 800,000. We do have a new map with remaining road impact fees available. If you want me to email you a copy of those as well. Also in this process, cleaned up we had an old accounting database, and we have a number of ways. We're now switched over to be pulling those road impact fees out of the database that Jane and Don maintain over there. So they do a really good job with that accounting, so you have a process down.
Yeah.
So annually, I'd like to, whenever, Rob's getting closer to that, wanting to do a transfer order, we'll go ahead and process that. So you might be using a road impact fee, and there are some down at Road F that just came in a couple months ago. So we need to be using those as they come in logically in those areas. So we'll go ahead and pull those over from the SmartGov, get them on the map, sit down with Rob's crew, and then get those used. And then everything's stored currently, going all the way back to 2008, I believe. I imported all the road impact fees, so it says if it's available, if it was used, and what project it was used for. So that accountability. So we did a lot of work this year.
Yeah, I think this year was a good year.
And-
We probably in the past, some of the reasons we're still hadn't pulled any of this is because of the convoluted system we had. So
Yeah.
it did a lot of work. Everybody jumped in on this and cleaned it up and got it out of database to get back into database correctly, and now we can pull on it annually. It's not that hard now.
Yeah.
So where before it was it ain't worth it
Yeah,
this year.
we're all in one system now, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's good.
$547,000 is worth
Oh, yeah.
the work. Thank you, guys.
Especially this year.
Appreciate it.
Remember when you were
That's,
asking why we didn't spend that $4 million that we had? Well, we're down to 400,000,
Well,
so.
that's why we bill appropriately and go find the money appropriately, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, and Don and Jane really get after that, collecting those road impact fees that are due, so.
It's there for that reason. That's why we collect impact fees.
Yep. Well, again, we're doing a lot of work throughout the county, and sometimes you just put that money thing over there on the side, and we'll get back to it later. But it wasn't not easy to process. It was hard to do, so it got left on the back burner. And this year, we put the effort, and Doug did a heck of a job getting that all put back in, and spreadsheets that we all understand and can pull off of, and it'll be a lot easier now, so.
If there's ever a question, I don't think that there's gonna be, but if there's ever a question on accountability, we can put up a web map with a list, and people can zoom into their little dot and see if it was used, if it was, what project it was used for or not.
Why wouldn't we just do that anyway? I mean,
We could, and we could put it on the road department website and have a little
think
simple
it's-
little web map that says, that as far as accountability, that's very easy because it's in there now.
yeah, because it just shows the people that are paying those fees
Oh, yeah.
actually where they went. I mean, it's,
I totally agree.
Okay.
I
There's
think
no
it's-
secrets about it, yeah.
yeah, there's no secrets, exactly. Why not just get it printed and put it out there? That way, if they ever ask, there's a way to direct them exactly right to it.
And I also think, Jim, that it was hard to maneuver through it, so we didn't do it. And we
Yeah.
didn't absolutely need it, so we were working off our yearly budgets and making budget. But now that it's easier, we'll probably use it yearly,
Sure.
annually. If it's not a headache every time you
That's-
open that can of worms up,
Yep.
so.
And I agree, and I get it. That's, I guess, they're paying for that, so we should be using it.
I agree.
And it'll help you out every year too.
Yep,
So again, thank you both,
you bet.
or all of you, whoever was
Both groups, everybody.
Yeah.
combined.
I mean, it's been going on since back in the days when Rachel was here. She kind of invented the whole system when she started out several years ago, and it's gotten better, and this year was like, okay, we got to get this under control, and Doug's group took the ball and ran with it, so it's good. Sounds good.
I definitely don't see any issues with this at all.
No.
Questions, Commissioner?
Okay,
Okay,
well, you got the transfer order, we'll watch you on TV
make a
tomorrow.
decision tomorrow.
Yeah, so, all right, thanks.
See ya. All right, Fairgrounds, Mr. Justin, come on down.
Okay, so I think you guys pretty much know kind of what's going on with this, just from previous talks we've had, but just as a refresher, the Ute Mountain Rodeo Committee that puts on the Ute Mountain Rodeo annually out there at the fairgrounds has some gravel that they are donating to the fairgrounds. We just have to figure out a way how to get it there. So they're basically covering the cost of the gravel through some of their sponsorships that they're getting. And then we would just be looking at hauling the gravel from the pit to the fairgrounds, and then us at the fairgrounds would take care of smoothing it out and things like that. So we're looking at a cost to haul, is 1,071 tons is what we're looking at. And that range is over the 15,000 mark. So according to our procurement policy, we'd have to get 3 written quotes and then kind of come to you guys and ask if it's okay to do it. So I got 3 quotes on that, and that's kind of a summary there that Travis has up on those 3. Those are the 3 that was sent to me. There's not a whole lot of difference between the 3.
Actually, there's a lot of difference.
Well,
An hour?
as far as
raised,
the hours,
it
yes.
raised my
Yeah, I
hair
caught that.
significantly.
So these are all estimated hours too, because we are looking at coming from basically Four Corners Monument, because it's the pit over there by them that WCA Construction has, or Wiminuche, and all the way to the fairgrounds. When you kind of Google that, you're looking at about 2.5 hours. You know, a couple of the trucking companies wanted to estimate 3.5 because that's just what they wanted to put down, because we have to think of construction delays if possible, which I don't really think there's much construction going on now.
There's no construction on that road now. It's all finished. So
Yeah, but they do still
before
got to
you
go
even
through the
go
scales.
on,
Huh?
so I went back at lunchtime and went to our computer program and figured it out. And the 2.5 is a lot more reasonable. My computer program showed 2.29.
Yeah, and I do believe that 2.5 is more reasonable. The other 2 just didn't want to give me an estimate that was.
The hourly rate is all the same, and
Yep.
that's current. But
Correct.
I would almost recommend bidding it per ton, because in that way we don't get caught with. I mean, that's a huge variation of an hour apiece on a trip.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I mean, being in the industry, we do a lot by the ton, because in that way, the customer or the client, I mean, they could just say, yeah. I mean, how do you verify it then, Justin?
Yeah, correct. And we could bid it out. I mean, if you
So-
guys want me to do that,
Or do we just set the price at a per ton price? I mean, I would recommend asking them what is their per ton price instead of just an hourly price.
well, that's going to kind of correlate to the cost per load that I got.
Well, exactly. So if you figure that cost per load, if you do the math going backwards,
It's all in time is where it's at.
it would be, in guesstimating, now again, we use 24.5 tons for our trucks because we know what typically they will carry.
Yep.
Some of their trucks might be heavier and they may only get 24 tons, but they may have a divisible weight permit and they can put 27 tons on. So I looked at it, and to me, there was a huge cost difference when you go from 15,000 to 23,000. That's a huge difference in 10,071 tons.
Yes, and that's all in just that hour per load. That's kind of where that difference is, because some of them are telling me they're wanting to only estimate 3.5 hours, and then some are saying 2.5 hours, you know, for a round trip.
Right, so what I did is, our computer program shows 42.1 miles,
Mm-hmm.
and the assumed average speed is 45 miles an hour. 15-minute load time, 10-minute unload time, which is the 2.29 hours. If you divide that by the 135, it's 1261 a ton,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically, if you look at their proposals, it's paying them the same rate, but we're not getting stuck for that additional hour for whatever reason. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying there.
So we're not,
And we can do that if we want to kind of bid it out, I guess, per se. These are just kind of quotes that I got back from saying, hey, can you deliver us 1,071 tons from here to here? And this is what they're figuring. I mean, if we want to do like that and try to do a bid process or something,
I'm not even saying you have to do a bid process. Call these three people just like you did previously and say, what's your ton price? Or we've done the math and say, at $1.35 an hour, it's $12.61 a ton. And that's figured on a 24.5 ton basis.
okay.
Am I making sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Not
So
at all?
either that, yeah, I got it. I mean, do we have to bid this out?
We don't, since it's under 50, I believe.
Yeah, we're supposed to get 3 quotes.
And we
Okay.
have
Yeah,
3
we got
quotes.
3 quotes.
And I guess what I'm getting at, so you have 10,071 ton, right?
1,071, yes.
So 1261. That I didn't do, but I can do real quick. At 1261 a ton, you're at 13,505. At 1,071 ton.
Based off of how many hours?
24.5 tons per trip. I can sit down and show you the math, Justin. So pull up the last quote. Pull up K-Rock and S. The 135 is a fair price.
Yeah, and that's all of them. They're all, that's the going rate for a belly dump, so
But it's the hours different is what changes the prices significantly.
that is what's changing the prices.
So he's saying at the 2.5 hours, he's going to do it for $337.50 per load,
Correct.
correct?
Yes. You got it. $337.50 per
So,
load.
again,
So the other two are gonna be $472.50 per load if it takes 3.5 hours. But they don't wanna give me a quote on 2.5 hours, cause in their minds,
that's why it's better to do it by the ton.
okay,
Does
Okay.
that make sense to you?
yeah, I see what you're saying, but I think they're just gonna still come back to me and calculate that in, and they're still gonna be higher overall.
Well, then
when we figure this
this is
out.
by far the lowest, this is the best bid.
I mean, I can do that and come back to you guys with it. But I feel like if I calculated that out, like you're saying, you know, if they can haul 24 tons per load or whatever and calculate that out, because they gave me the load counts. So one company can do it in 49 loads, one can do it in 47, the other can do it in 45. So I think in reality, if you took whatever they think their rate's gonna be, they're still gonna calculate in that timeage into their tonnage and then come out kind of based off of that same price per load and then divide it into per ton on what they can haul. If that kind of makes sense.
question, guys?
No.
I don't have any.
So if it comes back to a decision for tomorrow, if you want to present it just like this, obviously the only way we can go
Okay.
is presented, but
You think their rate might be different, I guess, if they did it by the,
well, sure it is,
Ton.
because you don't, I mean, this tells you the difference right now. If you can do it for 45 loads or 49 loads, the same tonnage, somebody's got a divisible weight permit, which we carry them all the time. Because if I can haul 2 more tons in one trip, I will earn more money than hauling less at the same hourly rate. So when you bid it by the ton, we're not hamstringed if there was construction, they had to sit for 1 hour, it's gonna be per load. And there's not, but I'm just saying, so say there was construction last year and they had to sit 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and pretty quick it's 30 minutes. By the hour, you're still paying them that hourly rate. By the ton, it's gonna be the $337 a load, which is by the ton.
yeah, divided by however many tons they're hauling, exactly.
So you take the 135, multiply it by 2.5, and then divide it back by, like I said, our math is, or my math is 24.5 ton. But none of them are, they're at 21 and 23 tons.
Yeah, I think they got, one of them's got it in their quote here on exactly what they're hauling. So like Harris, they can do 23 tons per load, so that's how he calculated it out. But I think he's still gonna take that number, that 22,207, and divide it out based off of what he's gonna calculate how long it's gonna take.
But he's calculating 3.5, I guess that's.
Yeah, he is.
So for me, that was the big,
Okay,
that's a huge difference from 2.5 to 3.5.
okay.
So really, it's just, do you want it presented back like this tomorrow for us to make a decision, or do you want to just call them back and get a per ton price?
I can get per ton price if you guys would rather see a per ton price.
I would, just keep it up and up.
And then,
Because if they divide it back the way this is showing at 3.5, they're not even going to be close. The
Okay.
one is still going to be significantly lower.
are you guys good if I had that for tomorrow? Or do you want me to?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Or, yeah.
I mean, any questions on anything else?
It just
We
says
just,
discussion, decision related on the delivery.
okay.
The hourly rate is all the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all the same. It's just the hours per delivery.
Okay.
That's the significant difference, because you go from it's almost $9,000 difference.
Yeah, well, that's because it got an hour per load extra, yeah, so it's another $135 per load. But, okay, I will do that and try to have it for tomorrow. And then CTF funds should be able to cover something like this, so as long as you guys are good with us using CTF funds to get this delivered to us.
And Travis Fader and I have looked at that, and
Yeah.
the CTF, there's enough money to cover that.
Okay. Okay, anything else?
No, that'll
All
do
right,
it.
I'll try to get those and I'll be back tomorrow then.
Thanks, Justin.
Yep.
Sounds good, thanks, Justin. Now we have James Dietrich up, who's gonna talk to us about an LOS for the Lamb House, or Lamb Building.
Afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
So I just got a request to provide a letter of support to the Cortez Cultural Center. What they're asking State Historic Society for is just dollars to replace the roof at the ER Lamb Building. And that's really the long and the short of it there. Pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for coming.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, that- pretty
And,
easy.
I'll bring it back in for you guys tomorrow. I've got a couple copies in case you want to read it here, but,
Okay,
yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks, James.
thanks. How big is that roof? It's tiny.
I don't know how big it is, how many square feet
It's pretty good size.
It's decent size,
Yeah.
a pretty good sized building.
Really?
I haven't really got any kind of a square footage or anything.
All right.
Maybe
it's grown since I looked at it.
with me at all, they just said, hey, need a letter
Cool.
of support, so, anyway, I'll leave you guys a couple copies.
The roofing industry has gotten pretty strong since that last big rainstorm.
Yeah, I can tell you sure has, yeah. Got 2 houses I'm roofing right, trying to get roofed right now.
Yeah.
But we're a month out before we can even start. Got that big rainstorm, boy, I must have had a leak that was pretty minor.
Yeah.
And boy, when that big one hit, it became major in a real hurry, so, yeah.
You'll find them.
Yeah, you gotta find them, for sure.
All right, thanks,
Thank you,
James.
gentlemen.
Thanks, James.
All right, and then Travis, now we're gonna talk about another discussion as far as strategic planning for 2024.
Yeah, so a few months back, we brought this before the commissioners. We'd gotten some quotes, and Same Page Solutions at that time was the cheapest. I want to say the others were like $30,000 and $50,000 roughly. And then we decided to go with DOLA. Well, DOLA is obviously super busy and don't have the time to dedicate it to this program. So reached back out to Same Page Solutions. They're still willing to commit to the process and help us out. Obviously, when we talked about strategic planning, it helps set goals and priorities for the commissioners and the direction that they want to go with the county. So it helps out in multifaceted ways, budgets, priorities, projects. You have deliverables that you can quantify if you're reaching your goals. So the reason I wanted to bring it to you, gentlemen, fairly soon is when I talked to Paul. He said that if the commissioners are willing to jump on this, then obviously this would be for 24. We have money budgeted for it, but he could start doing a little bit of footwork and try to get the process streamlined now before we start really hitting the ground running in 24. So that's pretty much it.
I think this is basically the same proposal as it was last time, other than the dollar values have changed, isn't it?
Yeah, it went up a couple thousand, but
So if you guys remember reading it, this is pretty close to the same.
Well,
I've got
No,
nothing to say from a legal perspective. I'll be honest, though, I think that strategic planning for government entities like this can be very tricky, because this board turns over so often. And so you can pay a lot of money to develop a strategic plan today, and a lot of strategic plans are aimed at long-term sort of things. And the reality is, in 4 years, things could look completely different, and the strategic plan could get tossed out. And so that's my concern with strategic planning. And it's not a legal concern as much as it's just a practical day-to-day concern.
which on this it's a 3-year strategic plan. So the next board could come in and say, we want to adjust it. I mean, this is a living document like we talked about. There's always going to be changes. It's just a guide to help us achieve goals and priorities, projects. And again, this is only a 3-year, and then we sit down and reevaluate it.
Not making a decision today,
yeah.
so you guys can read through it, and if you have more questions, we can talk about it tomorrow, and
Okay.
we can go from there. Okay? All
Done.
right. And that is all, unless you added something on me, Ian.
Nope, nothing.
Okay, well then we are adjourned. Thank you all.